Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Friday, and why ain't you up out of bed yet? Probably, if you are up out of bed already, you probably had a really early morning delivery, or you were up partying all night. And either way, I appreciate you joining me here. It's super early. I got me a refrigerated delivery here at the Walmart in Mankato, Minnesota, and yeah, this is how we do it, bright and early. You know, I think about the COVID thing, and not a lot's changed for reefer drivers. You know, like everybody's behind plexiglass. You can't understand what they're saying. I mean, it's like a normal day for us. But yeah, that's what's going on. It's time for a weekly recap. Why I got you here bright and early. If you could, hit that subscribe button for me. Leave me a comment. Share the video with somebody that you think could use this type of information. Because that's what I'm trying to do here, is put out information. Back when I started being an owner-operator, YouTube was not filled up with truck drivers giving out information. So that's the goal here, is to show people, you know, the numbers, basically. To give you either confidence to stay where you're at, to think, hey, I'm doing better where I'm at, or maybe I should go for it. But anyway, so I'm the type of YouTube trucker that is trying to give information, not recruit or, you know, just act like a jackass. I'm that guy, and proud to be part of that group and not the latter. But yeah, really good week this week, man. Oh man, was it a tough one though? I am not even joking. I heard a guy on YouTube the other day. He does car hauling. He says High Shot Dave is his name. If y'all want to check him out, he's a little out there, but puts out some good content, puts out numbers, things like that. But he says, what is it? You got to do the things they want to make what they don't. And it's a pretty good saying. It stuck with me. I kind of like it. So started this week last Friday afternoon. It's now Friday morning. So it's been almost 7 days. I'm not going to make any more revenue by the end of the day, so I am going to pick up another load back to Florida by the end of the day. Excuse me, but I'm not, you know, I won't have that done by the end of the day. Wish I would, but you know, sometimes, you know, the limitations of time and space and whatnot. So, what happened this week? I ran 4,250 miles. Whoa! So get you some of that. You know, don't think you're gonna put up big numbers without putting up big work. You know, trucking's just not a gimme industry. Sometimes you do better. You know, what is it? My trainer told me back when I started back, you know, back when we were horse and buggies practically back then. He told me, some days you'll eat the feathers and some days you'll eat the chicken, or vice versa. You'll eat the chicken, some days you'll eat the feathers. You know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows out here for the new guys. But there is some good money out here if you're willing to run hard and do the work and, you know, build relationships. Somebody earlier in the week said, I made being an owner-operator look easy. I appreciate the comment, number one. I appreciate the sentiment of the comment. And number two, I'm not sure. I mean, it gets easier with time, basically. But it's a lot more to it than driving a truck. You know, so if you want to make more money and be an owner-operator, it's not a given just because you're an owner-operator, you make more money. I've seen plenty of owner-operators make less money than a good paying company driver. So, you know, you can make more money, but you have to do more work. You know, you have to be willing to take on the management of the truck, You know, when you're a driver, your main thing is, you know, you're maintaining your hours of service, you're maintaining your appointment times, somewhat maintaining the truck, you know, as far as keeping up with some things. But, you know, when you want to be an owner-operator, then you're stepping up into, now you're managing fuel costs, you're managing maintenance schedules, you're managing maintenance costs, repair costs. So you take on a lot more management, you know, when you do the owner-operator thing. So be very wary of that. Like, just because you are an owner-operator does not mean you're going to make more than a company driver. Now that I got all that out of there, let's get to some numbers. Big numbers this week. 4,250 miles. Oh, man. Total revenue, $10,200 this week. I was really hoping it was going to be about 1,000 more than that, but Florida kind of dropped off on me a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if just where Florida started opening back up. I've got a theory on this. You know, Florida is one of the states that kind of started opening back up a little sooner than others. And I think what that did is that caused more freight to be coming into Florida because, you know, restaurants are opening back up and things of that nature. So it brought more reefer trailers into the state. Therefore, the rush of produce and fresh foods coming out did not have such a priority because there was, you know, supply and demand. You know, more supply of trucks, less demand of prices. So, anyway, one load, the first load, California to Atlanta with a final stop in Orlando. That load was $7,500. The second load was Plant City, Florida to Mankato, Minnesota, where I'm at currently. That was $2,700 for that load. That is not a good rate for that amount of miles. That was like 1,600 miles on that load. So, you know, they're not all bangers. You know, I'll just put it to you like that. They're not all, you know, right home about loads. Some of them are just get you to where you got to be loads. And I'm gonna say, I didn't do the numbers on that, but I would say ballparking, that's probably like $1.70 a mile, something like that. I don't know. I didn't do the numbers on it because I was not very happy with it. But honestly, it got me right back to my home turf. And, you know, it was one pick, one drop. I mean, I'm not going to make excuses for it. It's not a great paying load. It is what it is. Sometimes you pull those. You know, if you think they're all going to be $7,500 revenue loads, they're not. So, total revenue for the week, like I said, $10,200 to the carrier. That's $8,160 to the truck. I spent $1,195 on diesel for the truck. Probably got more diesel than I started with. Excuse me. So got more diesel than I started with, so that's probably a little bit higher of a number. I was out west. Fuel prices are a little higher out there, so you know, paid a little more and ran 4,250 miles. I guess that's the main reason. I was thinking, why was my fuel above $1,000? Like, because my normal week here lately with fuel prices being down, you know, my average fuel price for the week's been about like $800 to $900. So yeah, I guess being under $1,200 for the week and running 4,250, I'm going to say my average fuel mile per gallon this week was probably low 8s, somewhere in that ballpark, because I did basically 8 miles a gallon from California to Atlanta. Then when I went from Atlanta down to Orlando, you know, I was back to my slow pace, so I was over 10 miles a gallon on that because I only had like 16,000 pounds in the box. Coming back up here, I had 42,000 pounds on, and well, 43 really. It was closer to 43. I did pretty good coming back though. I was ballparking 8 the whole way. At one point, I was about 8.4, but then I got in some rain and some wind over in Illinois, and we all know how that goes. It dragged me down a little bit, but I'm going to say a solid 8, just even 8 for the week. I guess I could go in and calculate it all up because, you know, I kept up with each fuel stop, but, you know, they were all right around 8, either high 7s or low 8s. So 8 miles per gallon for the week on that. $221 in reefer fuel. That's a pretty good chunk for reefer fuel. I'm going to attribute $60 of that was because I wasn't able to fill up between the last load of last week and this first load out of California, and I had a frozen food load on, and I stopped in California and filled up, and it was like, God, even with discount, it was like $3.30 a gallon or something like that in California at the Loves in Barstow. And I, you know, it took $60 right there just to get it back to full. So, you know, you can attribute some of that to the last week's load, but either way, it is what it is. $221 in reefer fuel, $44 in DEF, $26 in tolls. Both two $13 goes at the two $13 tolls at the Florida Turnpike. $15 on scales. That's a scale and a reweigh, which is really $14.50, but I round it because I'm an even numbers type guy. So I shouldn't have had to reweigh that, but the paperwork on the load here from Florida, it's off by about 4,000 pounds. So my scale on my truck I use, and I'm learning it, but when the paperwork's off, you know, close to 4,000 pounds, it's kind of tough to set it like it needs to be set because I want it as balanced as possible. It would have been balanced other than the fact that there was like 4,000 pounds extra on there, not accounted for on paperwork. So, and normally what I would have done in that situation is I would have moved the weight up to the drive axles. You know, on a heavy load, I basically just try to get my drive axles right at 34, but you know, I knew I was going to be needing some fuel, so I didn't want to, you know, I wanted it balanced basically. So had to reweigh it. I don't know why I feel the need to defend a reweigh so much, but I kind of am pretty good at scaling them over. So, you know, I've done so many loads and having to figure out when and where to put the axles. So yeah, it's been a while since I've had to do a reweigh, and I mean, there's no shame in a reweigh, but it is what it is. So 4,250 on the miles this week. That is a lot of miles. I do not want to do that every week. That was a hell of a week. So I idled for to keep up with the idling and talk about that a little bit. I have something that's going to help me keep from idling, but when I'm running 4,200 miles a week, I don't have time to put it on or any of that. I'm going to run back to Florida, probably come straight back from Florida. I don't know. When next time I take some real home time, I will figure that out. But I probably idled a good 15 to 20 hours this week. That's a lot of idling for me, but you know, I was in Florida the other day and I basically ran the truck for an entire day. You know, cutting it off, it just got hot so quick. It was so humid out. That was the thing. It was like, you know, it was like 80 something degrees, and last time I was down there it wasn't as humid, so I could idle the truck for like an hour, turn it off. You know, when I was sitting around in the day, at night, I'm just going to leave it running at night. You know, I'm not going to get up, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. So during the day I would let it run for like an hour and turn it off, and I'd be cool for like an hour or two. And you know, sometimes I could even let it run for like 30 minutes and I'd be good for an hour or two. So this time it was not like that. That humidity in Florida, it was like as soon as I turned it off, it was like just nasty. So that's what's going on with the idling. Everything else so far, it was a pretty good week. You know, not a whole lot of hiccups. The Florida load, it was one of those. They told me it was going to load out of one city. You guys that do a lot of produce know what I'm talking about. You know, they tell you, oh, it's going to load out of here, and then all of a sudden, you know, it rains or they can't get in the field there, so they send you something to a cooler. You know, they send you over to a packing plant to pick it up. But it is what it is. Overall, a great week. I mean, if I could pull these kind of numbers every week, I'd be pretty well off. I don't know if even did I even go over the end numbers. 10,200. That's 8,160 to the truck. I spent 1,501 on the cost that I go over: the reefer, the def, the tolls, the scales. That leaves me 66.59 for the week to do what I got to do with. And yeah, great numbers for the week. One thing I want to touch on too, if you stuck around this long, I appreciate it. And you know, if you got questions for me, just ask them in the comments, guys, because not only do you get me answering them, but you also get other guys that will help out and answer a question. And you know, there's more knowledge there than just, you know, asking me. So ask in the comments, other guys will answer, and I appreciate all the people that do answer someone else's questions, because that is the ultimate goal of this channel. The goal of this channel is to educate and you know, help people make more money and be more efficient, basically. But yeah, so if you got questions, just ask them in the comments. I do appreciate all the questions that are being asked, because you know, even if I know the answer to it, you know, someone else may answer it different and give me a different answer that I didn't think about. So, you know, all that is appreciated. And yeah, that's it, guys. Until next time, take care of each other out there. Later.